All right, guys. So what's going on? It's Saturday afternoon now. I'm recording another episode because I want to cover multiple topics today, and I just feel like being a bull in a shop and getting a ton of this banged out. And I want to have a little more freedom with this episode and not just be talking about like straight facts. And I kind of want to just hop around and talk about a bunch of different stuff here. So, but first, I'm gonna start with the Philadelphia medical Learjet crash on Cotman Ave, I believe, last night in Northeast Philadelphia. Um, okay, first of all, what's going on? Because this is like the third or fourth aviation disaster slash tragedy in 4 days or something. Also, just on like a visual, like that thing was going down like a goddamn missile. I'm not saying that's what it was, but I mean, what's going on here? Like, we got LA burnt to a crisp all over the place, still going, I believe. The planes are just crashing everywhere. In the Black Hawk thing, man, we still don't know. They're withholding the name of the pilot. And it's like, isn't that kind of really important public information? Like, I don't get how people don't care about this shit. Like, I don't get how people aren't like going nuts for the information at this point. It fucking baffles me. And I'm just treating this episode more as a stream of conscious. Like, I'm straight off script this episode. I'm not like reading notes and shit. I'm like just talking to y'all. So, this medical transport jet carrying 6 people, including a young patient or child and her mother, tragically crashes, like, I think it was a minute or two less, like under 2 minutes after takeoff, I think it crashes. So it's also like, what the fuck is up with that? Like, I just can't help but think that this is all orchestrated and there's something really crazy going on for this level of quote unquote accidents to be taking place in less than a week. I can't even wrap my head around it. And sure, it could just be human error, it could just be technical malfunction, or it could be something deeper than that. So around 6:15 p.m. or so last night, January 31st, 2025, a Learjet 55 operated by Jet Rescue Air Ambulance departed from Northeast Philadelphia aircraft. It was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri, carrying 6 individuals, 2 pilots, a physician, a paramedic, a pediatric parent, and her mother. Tragically, the plane crashed shortly after takeoff near Roosevelt Mall at Cotman and Bustleton Avenue in Northeast Philadelphia. Erupting into flames upon impact, all 6 aboard perished, and several individuals on the ground sustained injuries from the ensuing fireball and debris. So I personally can only imagine there are more injuries and deaths than are being told to us, which I also have believed from the start is the same case with the LA fires. I just find it hard to believe that all these homes, all these cars getting burnt down all the time, just no one's in any of them. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. I don't trust anything I see on the news anymore. I don't trust any of it. I personally make a dedicated effort on a daily basis to not search Google for anything because I know it's all just a campaign now. It's so blatantly obvious that it's just information war 24 hours a day now. And even like the 24-hour news networks from TV, like I feel like there's a whole rabbit hole that they purposely dismantled that to bring you to the alternative 24/7 on your phone, where it's like you're on it even more than you were on the TV because now you're on it in the car, you're on it at work. It's literally 24/7 news. Like you there's no escape unless you're like disciplined like a military guy mentally. And yeah, even last night, some of the footage of this, it's not like anywhere near as like devastating as like the LA fire like visuals or anything. But I mean, it's still devastating for this like acute area, and there was literally footage of like body parts on roofs nearby. There was a guy that walked out completely on fire, running away from the scene, totally engulfed, his full body in flames. I mean, it's like, holy fuck, bro. There's some footage on like Ring doorbell cameras and people just, running around with their phones, and that's actually something I wanted to talk about too in relation to this, is the way that the media robs us of time purposely by making us obsess over these stories for extended periods of time when we should actually be enjoying our lives and finding happiness and pursuing freedom and liberty and who we really are and what makes us happy. Like, you should own your time to the degree that like you're not watching anyone, you're not consuming anyone hardly. You're just creating and being you and doing what you want to do all the time with your own time. But the media's angle is to try to suck you into these tragedies that have emotional aspects to them and be like, oh, a child died, like you need to go personally obsess over it for 6 months. And you also need to forget about the fact that the media company selling you this story is making millions of dollars a day off you clicking it. So it's a very dirty business, and it gets dirtier. So we were talking about the crash and then the media aspect. And so I want to talk about, also tying into this, the free labor force, how social media turned everyone into unpaid journalists and more. So the fall of investigative journalism, and I have mixed feelings on this. Like I think investigative journalism still exists, but it's being done almost for free practically by random citizens, which can also open avenues for all sorts of manipulation on the public in unexpected ways. So basically, we're at a situation now, like traditional media outlets used to send reporters into war zones, crime scenes, disaster areas. Now they genuinely don't have to if they don't feel like it, and they can control that. Instead of funding journalism, media companies realize, why not let the public go do it for us for free? So you have the smartphone revolution and instant news coverage. Before, breaking news required satellite trucks, camera crews, professional reporters everywhere. Now every person with a smartphone is a walking news crew. Social media platforms, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, are loaded with raw footage from everyday citizens who just happen to be in the right place at the right time. You got the George Floyd protests, Capitol riots January 6th, Ukrainian war footage. All this stuff is yellow journalism, citizen work done by the public. And if the public's doing the work of the news crews, what are the news crews and news organizations doing? So how the media profits off this free labor. Social media as a news wire. Traditional news agencies used to rely on AP and Reuters, however you say it, for breaking news updates. Now their primary news wire, social media. Example, when a major event happens, the first thing news companies do is go to X, Instagram, wherever, and scrape videos and tweets from random users. Media outlets do not pay for citizen journalism. Yeah, sure, there might be some monetization of the people that are up there, but they're also probably getting placed and planted. So your footage of a tornado tearing through a town, ABC's using it. Your footage of a police shooting, CNN's going to steal it. How much are they going to pay you? Zero. Instead, they're going to profit from your content through ad revenue, subscriptions, and syndication deals. They're going to terrorize you with the horrible, terrible content they're showing you. They're going to mind freeze you and rob you of time by just making you obsess over the LA fires for a month when you should have been working on getting a six-pack abs or something, you know what I mean? And some platforms even demonetize user-generated news content, ensuring that only media corporations can make profit off of it. So the risk-free model for news agencies. A journalist getting caught in a war zone or protest carries legal, financial, and safety risks. A random person uploading footage to Twitter, no risk to the media company. News agencies now sit back and let regular people take all risk, getting arrested, attacked, targeted while they collect the ad revenue from an office seat. How this benefits elites and shapes the narrative. The government and corporate playbook. Let the public report it. Governments and corporations realize they no longer have to be the primary source of information. Instead, they just shape the narrative around what regular people post. Social media algorithms prioritize certain stories over others, ensuring the dominant narrative gets amplified while inconvenient truths are buried. Selective censorship and narrative control. Platforms like Facebook and YouTube quickly remove certain content while promoting others. Twitter and Meta have suppressed certain protest footage while boosting corporate news narratives, and that's changed because X is owned now, but it's like a right-wing, rabbit hole now. The algorithm becomes the editor-in-chief, deciding what the public sees and believes, and that's the whole problem with these For You algorithms. You're not being fed who you chose to follow. You're just being fed an algorithmic slosh posh of shit that's supposed to literally brainwash you and influence every fucking thing you do, say, post. Like, remember everyone posting the black squares for BLM? That's a fucking psyop. That's the CIA testing your ass, seeing how far they can push you and get you to do a certain thing without you knowing why you're doing it and for what reason. And just, it's like MK Ultra on crack. For real. The feedback loop. We create the content, they spin it. Regular people capture the event, protests, police brutality, war footage, major disasters in cities, etc. News companies use it, frame it, spin it. Platforms push certain narratives while shadow banning or silencing others. We keep feeding them free content. Can we break the cycle? Decentralizing news and taking back control. Independent news journalists on platforms Substack, Rumble, Patreon bypass corporate filters. People are creating their own media outlets instead of relying on legacy media. Monetizing your own work. If your footage is newsworthy, sell it directly instead of giving it away. There are websites like Newsflare and others that let people license their content to news organizations instead of posting on social media for free. So there's that. Recognize the trap. The biggest step is awareness. Realizing when we post breaking news footage, we're doing unpaid labor for billion-dollar corporations. The more we demand transparency from media companies, the harder it becomes for them to exploit public contributions. So the next time you see breaking news stories, ask yourself who's benefiting from this, who's getting paid, who's controlling the story, what's the angle and what's the push. And the truth is that social media has turned us all into unpaid reporters and beyond, which I'm going to get into, but we still have the power to take back control of our own narratives. The question is, collectively, will we? So, and this theory extends far beyond journalism. It's rewired almost every creative and entertainment industry to extract free labor while corporations profit. Social media has trained people to view exposure as currency, but exposure doesn't pay rent. So photography and videography, the death of paid work. Before, photographers got paid for their work, whether shooting events, portraits, news. Now platforms like Instagram have devalued photography because everyone has a camera. Many brands expect free collaborations instead of payment, arguing that a feature on their page is great exposure. Getty Images and news outlets scrape user-generated images for free or low cost, reducing demand for professional photojournalists. Models and influencers, working for free in exchange for clout. Brands, influencers, corporations, etc. used to hire and pay models. So brands used to hire and pay models, and now they just send free products, expect influencers to shoot and market for free. Influencers become unpaid ad agencies doing photography, branding, and marketing without compensation. The illusion of potential future income keeps them trapped in a free labor cycle. Only a tiny percentage actually make money. Music and artists, devalued content creation. Musicians and visual artists spend years creating work only to be accepted to share it for free online. Platforms like Spotify pay fractions of a cent per stream, while TikTok and Instagram push musicians to make content instead of art. Even professional designers find their work stolen, reposted, and used commercially without credit or payment. So it's literally just wild, wild west. And like they're completely duping the entire globe with this brain rewiring of likes and comments and everyone spying on you and being opinionated about you. You have to not give a fuck about it at all because it's a psychological control mechanism to freeze you and fuck you up and get you to go post your best work ever for totally free because your currency now, they've transferred your currency mentally and psychologically into the effect that likes and etc. have on your dopamine receptors. Writers and journalists. The fall of professional reporting. We've already covered how news media outsources reporting to the public for free, but even opinion writing is now crowdsourced. X threads, unpaid Substacks, and long-form posts generate millions of clicks for platforms, while most writers see zero compensation. AI tools now scrape public writing and train models to replace human journalists and content creators. How social media trained us to work for free. Platforms gamified work. Likes, retweets, and followers replaced real paychecks. The hustle culture mindset keeps people grinding for free in hopes of future imaginary success. Corporations no longer, and that's also preyed on heavily by all the people that are way up in there. Corporations no longer have to pay for advertising, photography, or journalism because users will do it for free. This isn't happening in media, it's in nearly every creative industry. The question is, can we break out of this system, or has the damage already been completely finished? So, rewiring of the creative mind. From paid work to exposure bucks. Before social media, professionals in entertainment and media were paid off for their craft. Now they're told that working for free will, quote, pay off later. Photographers are expected to shoot for free in exchange for a tag. Models are promised clout instead of real agency-backed jobs. Musicians create viral TikToks instead of selling real albums. Writers publish free content online while companies monetize their work. The illusion of exposure as currency keeps people grinding for no return. The algorithm traps creators in a content hamster wheel. Platforms prioritize constant output, forcing creators to work harder for less. Musicians, instead of touring and selling records, they must constantly create viral content. This all benefits the corporations. It's all rewiring of your mind. Photographers and models, quality doesn't matter, only engagement does. All rewiring of your mind to fuck up the whole thing and scam you. Writers, long-form journalism is replaced by Twitter threads and clickbait. Another scam. The reality, social media makes sure only a few win while the rest burn out. Industries that have been hijacked by social media. Photography and videography, the death of professional rates. Instagram devalued it by making everyone a photog. Brands now demand free shoots in exchange for exposure. News outlets steal citizen shot footage for free. AI tools are scraping millions of images and replacing actual photographers. Modeling and influencers. Unpaid brand ambassadors. Traditional models were paid through agencies. Now companies send free products and expect influencers to promote them for free. Big brands like Fashion Nova and Shein built empires on unpaid labor from micro-influencers. The ones who do get paid, a tiny fraction of the influencer economy, like less than 1%. Music and art, content over craft. Spotify pays artists fractions of a penny per stream. TikTok forces musicians to market through trending sounds instead of making full albums. AI-generated music is already replacing real artists. Painters, graphic designers, and illustrators find their work stolen, reposted, or scraped for AI models with no compensation. So they're basically just taking all human work and just digitizing it and stealing it from you. And they're using the human race as like cattle to create like an AI overlord like thing. Journalism and writing. The death of paid storytelling. Investigative journalism used to be funded and respected. Now media companies are crowdsourced content from unpaid social media users. Writers post in-depth articles on Substack, Twitter, or Medium, yet platforms profit from their content while they get nothing. AI tools like ChatGPT are trained on unpaid human writing. And so it's also like there's no truth now. No one has any idea what's true, and that's also probably part of the design by the ruling class. So we're all just sitting here turning every which way, like what the fuck's going on, fighting with each other, dividing and conquering us. And so who profits? Hint, not us. Big tech wins, creators lose. Social media platforms profit from our free labor through ad revenue and engagement. And it goes all the way down to them spying on how much time you're spending on each page, on your own page, watching stories. The whole story thing is a scam too. Like, why the fuck do you need to see what Joe Schmo is eating for breakfast? The whole shit is a fucking scam, and all the influencers are looking for marks on there. Like, if you're on there posting pictures of your breakfast every day, like an influencer is going to find you and be like, oh, that's a mark. We should like fuck them up and like, you know what I mean? Like take them for everything they got and make them our fucking poster child. So the free labor chat. Just keep posting. Social media convinces creators to keep grinding, but only a small fraction actually succeed. 99% of users never blow up enough to make money. The passion economy is a lie. It's a way to extract free labor while gatekeeping real profits. How do we escape the system? Fucking demand payment for work. Stop working for exposure. If a company wants your work, charge their ass off the rip. Sell images, videos, and writing through direct licensing platforms. Build independent platforms. Don't rely on social media's scammy algorithms. Create your own site, newsletter, or brand. Use paid platforms instead of posting everything for free. And if you can, monetize this shit and scam them back. Recognize the system and opt out. The first step is realizing social media isn't an opportunity, it's an exploitation machine. Instead of feeding this system, find ways to monetize outside of corporate-controlled platforms, or you could try to be like I have been and just do your own thing and just refuse to be a part of the whole thing, which I'm sure I have been a part of, but I've awoken a lot, and I'm always trying to push farther in that. So every time we post, create, or share, we're adding value to platforms, to corporations, to AI models. But are we adding value to ourselves? Social media turned entertainment into free labor. We don't have to play the game. The question is, how do we take back control? And I think it's actually pretty simple. It's taking back control of yourself in your micro behaviors, in your reactive behaviors. And it kind of goes back to one of my favorite statements that I kind of made up myself as a photographer, is that as a photographer, like, what makes the best photographer is the people that know what not to share. So if you are very controlled and operative in your social media approach, you already won, because you know what's going on. Just don't fall for the passion game. Don't fall for the free labor. Don't fall for the clout and exposure, because it doesn't do anything. It's part of the scheme. So it's basically like a digital sharecropping situation where, the landowners or digital landowners let us, work on the land, but they harvest all the value, and we get, a heart on our post, and that's supposed to, satiate us. Like, that's how decimated the human general public masses psyche has been. Like, people are online all day praying to just be accepted. Like, fuck it. Who cares? It's all fucking fake and manufactured, and all these people are fucking frauds, bro. It's all a fucking joke. We've all been conned by this. And anyone saying they haven't is full of shit, because even the people way up are getting psyoped in some way too, or controlled or blackmailed or whatever the fuck's going on. Because it all leads to money and control. And there's all the selective amplification of what stories get boosted. The algorithm decides what news gets engagement. So, corporations have fully infiltrated this and are just narrating your lives, on a full degree. The Hunter Biden laptop story was proven to be suppressed by social media influencing the election narratives. The Israel-Palestine conflict has all sorts of biased content moderation on both sides on all different apps, warping public perception and raising a lot of questions and eyebrows. So who controls the gatekeepers? The government and intelligence agencies collaborate with these social media platforms to suppress certain narratives while boosting others. The Twitter files leaks showed how the FBI and DHS officials influenced content moderation. So are we willing participants? Yes, unfortunately. And why do we keep doing free journalism and etc.? We're addicted to posting is the main reason. People are filming breaking news not to just inform, but to go viral and gain clout, because everybody's brain has been rewired. People have been also rewired to not intervene when something happens and to film it instead, which is also another layer of this whole massive psyop. Is they've rewired the human mind using literal receptor and psychological techniques, to the extent that when you see a human being on fire in front of you, people have no interest in helping. It's oh shit, gotta get views. And the reality of that is those views aren't going to get you paid most likely, and they're going to be stolen and utilized by one of the 1% of the influencer or news media economy to profit off of, which is scary. So this has the mainstream media takes total advantage of this psychological need. Instead of paying journalists, they let social media provide the content for free and package it as citizen journalism. Does this kill real investigative journalism? Why would outlets spend money sending reporters when viral videos do the work for them? The result is less fact-checking, more reactivity, more manipulation, and you got the AI angle coming into that as well. So the question you have to ask yourself there constantly on a 24/7 basis is, are we and am I individually contributing to my own and our own manipulation by feeding this machine? And that was just something I wanted to touch on, because I found it interesting seeing the way the news media has been using all of the social media content created on the ground from regular citizens with all these recent disasters. And I'm kind of see what's going on here. But so going back to the Philly plane crash, the National Transportation Safety Board initiated an investigation into the cause of the crash. Preliminary reports suggest that adverse weather conditions, including light rain, overcast skies, and gusty winds, may have played a role. However, the exact cause remains under investigation. Speculations have arisen regarding potential mechanical failure or human error, but no official conclusions have been drawn at the time. The mayor came out expressing condolences, pledging assistance to the affected families. Philadelphia Phillies, 76ers, the Eagles, the Union, and Flyers have also offered their support, highlighting the city's union, blah, blah, blah. So they're still investigating this. It's a Learjet 55. It was apparently mostly or all Mexican nationals on board. And yeah, I mean, I just can't help but think that there's, like, my mind immediately just goes to that this is some sort of major orchestrated things going on to, like, dismantle any possibility of Trump's presidency having any positivity to it off the rip. And I could be totally wrong. Half of these could be genuine accidents, but I don't think there's any chance that 100% of all these recent incidents, like the Cybertruck, the NOLA truck crash, or whatever, parade thing, the helicopter Black Hawk crashing into the passenger plane. Now you got this one crashing into the middle of Philly. You got the LA fires looking like Gaza for a month and a half. It seems way too much to be... for all this to happen like weeks after someone's inauguration just seems impossible. But I'm just a person talking. I might not know anything. I might be the dumbest person out here. I don't know. You can tell me whatever the hell you want. You can critique me every which way. I'm all good with it. I think a big part of the problem is we've all been psychologically like convinced, like I said, about like getting our time robbed and being like scared to take control of our own narrative, our own voice, say shit ourselves. It's like we've really been fucked with, guys. It's severe. And so I don't really have much theory there. I mean, it's a very unfortunate situation. Rest in peace to the victims. I hope all the people whose homes, cars, and lives were affected by that are okay. I was actually terrified the minute I saw it because that's only a few miles from my fiance's school and stuff. So, yeah. And I also wanted to pivot now and talk a little bit about these confirmation hearings that have been going on. Like the Tulsi Gabbard. Oh my God, these notifications on my computer are driving me crazy. The Tulsi Gabbard confirmation hearing, the RFK Jr. confirmation hearing, and the Kash Patel confirmation hearing. And I touched on the Kash Patel one and some of those funny moments, but I thought this was interesting. So Bernie Sanders, and I know this is all could be theater always, like I said in the last or 2 episodes ago, but so Bernie Sanders tweets yesterday or posts on X, and I know this might not even, most likely is not even him, that these people all just have operations being run for social media. I'm not an idiot. But so Bernie Sanders' account posts, I got zero donations from pharma CEOs, zero donations from Wall Street CEOs, zero donations from oil company CEOs, 8 million from working people giving $27 at a time. I'm very proud of that fact. That could be true, and that's been his whole ethos for years now. But so this person responds, says, a reputation takes a lifetime to build and one confirmation hearing with RFK Jr. to destroy. So we'll play this real quick. I'll let you guys listen to it, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no,
and protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would go. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives. They did not come from the executives. They did not come from the executive billion.
You heard that? They did not come from the executives. Now let me tell you some of the people they came from that were supposedly not the executives. These are some of the people that donated to Bernie. So some of the occupations from Pfizer of Bernie's donor were vice president and global medical lead of breast cancer at Pfizer, medical director of Pfizer, adjunct associate professor at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, director senior asset lead, now works for the Gates Foundation, regulatory affairs specialist, associate research fellow, head of the parallel protein production group and group leader G2S, precision medicine lead, clinical innovation, management at Pfizer, senior oncology account specialist, and executive at Pfizer. So, yeah. I'm not sure if he's as anti-big pharma as he's been leading everyone to believe for all this time. And I could be wrong. I don't know. But it's so funny to me too, man, because I legit, like, I try to, like, read some of these stories to, you know, get, like, an idea of what's going on, and then I'm immediately just like, oh, they're just pushing a narrative, like on AP or wherever, on some mainstream thing. And then I go to X, and I'm like trying to get the information. I'm like, oh, they're just pushing another narrative. And I feel like the whole design is just divide and conquer, along with like total obfuscation of reality, along with also robbing you of as much time as possible, so you're just frozen, like not doing anything with your own actual life, and scared to use your own voice, scared to buy your own microphone and start saying shit like I'm doing right now. They got everybody locked in a freaking social media cage, yo, like spending all year like to take one like sexy pic. It's like the dumbest shit ever what they've done with society, yo. We all gotta fucking wake up to it. It's bad. I've been all the way through the shit. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with Tulsi Gabbard's hearing. I don't think any of these people have been confirmed yet. I kind of feel like they all will be, but I feel like a lot of this is just like theater. Like I said, it's like I feel like so much of this shit is just theater to distract you and just keep you away from fucking like your own greatness. It's like really sad. And like just that so many people trust these enormous media corporations to not be manipulating them is so mind-boggling to me. And yeah, like I said, I'm guilty of this too. Like I've, you know what I mean? Like I'm not perfect or anything, but yeah, it's crazy, man. Like all this stuff is really so funny to me too, because I feel like I'm so acutely aware that most of these like high figures are not running their accounts to any degree. Like they're not even like, they probably don't have the apps on their phone even. And like, so like for example, like this Kash Patel thing. And like I said, I like the guy. I think he's cool. I think he's kind of badass, but it's just so interesting the level of like psychological operation and manipulation and stuff that goes on. Like, so for example, apparently this Wired article claims that Kash Patel says he never promoted QAnon, and here are all the times he did or whatever. And that's whatever. I don't even care. But, and I also am still like I never know like what's true and what's not anymore, because I do believe that there's a very serious effort to silent dissent and silence, you know, theoretical viewpoints that, you know, are like fringe or conspiracy. But so in 2022, Patel became a director at Trump Media and Technology Group and worked to entice the QAnon community to join Truth Social. And so, quote, "We try to incorporate it into our overall messaging scheme to capture audiences because whoever that person is has certainly captured a widespread breadth of the MAGA and America First movement," said Patel on a June 2022 episode of the Patriot Party news show. And so what I try to do with anything, Q or otherwise, is you can't ignore that group of people that has such a strong, dominant following. So it's so obvious that they're just... I'm not even trying to like call these people out, but because I actually am like a fan, but it's like they're just utilizing like anything in sight as like a motivating sentiment factor. Or as like, you know, deep investigative work, you know, like potentially. And he even was quoted on Truth Social, which probably wasn't even him writing it, saying, "I've seen how good on Truth Social these researchers are, and I kind of wish I'd have some of them when I was doing Russiagate." He said in another podcast, "I talk with the president all the time. We're just blown away at the amount of acumen some of these people have." And he could be honest saying that. There's also a possibility that it could be like, manipulative way to just continue pushing people to, do what they're doing and behave the way they're behaving. And yeah, I'm not going to go like all the way deep diving on him because I don't even have a problem with him at all. I'm just exploring reality, but thought that was interesting. But all right, y'all. I'm about to wrap it up with that. I'm about to go catch some of this UFC fight night with there's 3 fights left. Sergey Pavlovich versus Rozenstruik, Michael Page versus Magomedov, and Israel Adesanya versus Nassourdine Imavov. So I'm about to go check this shit out. Have a good Saturday, y'all. And I'm about to record some music tonight too, man. I'm about to get in my bag on everything. Y'all have no clue. I've been going crazy with investing, crazy with working out, crazy with learning psychology and studying history and etc. and myself. Yo, I'm going in. I'm growing my hair out. I'm working on my style, my physique, my intelligence. I'm going fucking in, and y'all should too, all day, every minute, because our time is valuable. And every corporation is trying to rob you of your time and attention to your detriment. Take that shit back. Take control of everything, man. I love you guys. Follow me on Instagram at k.jachimowicz, on X at k.jachimowicz, on YouTube at k.jachimowicz. Support the podcast. Share it with your friends if you like it. If you find any of this intriguing, interesting, eye-opening, mind-opening, etc., please leave ratings and or written reviews on the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, wherever you watch them, because it's a big help for helping me get out there. And I'm also planning on trying to link up or get myself involved in advertising platforms so I can really start moving this. And I'm a journalism graduate from Central Connecticut State University, and the internet was changing so much and social media was changing so much, I really didn't know what to do with my degree after I graduated, and it didn't seem possible to do anything with it. But now I feel like I can do something with some sort of reporting, podcasting, or speaking publicly online, digitally, in this nature, whether it be about tech, politics, finance, the arts, sports, or all of them at once, and more. So I'm ready. If you guys got topics, conspiracies, random items, meta little things you want me to talk about, send me ideas, critique me, anything you want. You want to come be on my podcast? We can do it digitally. You can come to my freaking crib. We could do a podcast together about anything you want. We could argue. We could disagree. It's all good. So hit me up, guys. I love y'all. Have a great day and weekend.